Jeff, how's your day going aside from, doing press and answering the same questions over and over and over and over again?
Oh, hey Darren, nice to meet you. Yeah, it's going well. Shoot in the middle of shooting another movie, so I'm excited to talk about Image of You. It's a nice little break, so I'm doing well. Thank you.
When did you actually wrap filming on The Image of You?
I think we wrapped the end of May last year, so a year ago, kind of like right before the SAG strike was about to start.
Wow. And being a film that was based on a novel, how much pressure was there for you to keep it, exact to the book versus how much free reign did you have?
Um, there wasn't a ton of pressure. Chris Syvertson that adapted the book into a screenplay had already made some kind of pretty bold, fun changes. So I think everybody was kind of just on board for that ride. I think we were all worried because obviously when people read a book, they're casting it in their own head and they're like using their imagination. So we just kind of like leaned into our take on it.
Right.
But
What was your gateway into being part of this film? Did you know Adele? Who was the person you knew, or who were the people you knew?
it's a great question. I had a friend who was working over at Paramount at CBS that um had an awareness of the project and they were looking for a director, kind of helped me get in the door. And then the production company MPCA, they were the distributor sales agent on my first feature back in 2008. So I was had I knew them a little bit from that. Um,
Got it. Now, this is a compliment here. This isn't going in a butt kind of direction. So
okay.
you've been working steadily for a couple of decades. People who do their research on you know that you worked as a PA on Cape Fear, and ultimately you had a lot of success working in reality TV. What was your gateway back to leading the way with feature films? Because a lot of people just don't get out of reality TV after they find that success.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. So my short films were like a 30-minute rom-com and a musical comedy, and so and I put them on my credit cards. Then I had to, and I had a friend who was like had worked on an early season of The Real World, named Tony Gallagher, and Tony got a gig and needed like a story editor. I'm sorry, I'm taking too long to answer your question,
No,
but so
no, I got all the
I
time that Jeff Fisher has to give. Simple as that.
So so that was a way like I was a way to pay those shorts off my credit cards and kind of once I got in at that production company I started bugging them to watch my short films, and MTV ended up giving me my first break in reality. But I was simultaneously like between reality gigs trying to shadow episodic TV and try to convince people that like that I had some chops to direct, scripted narrative. I was having a really tough time doing it. And then I just had to write I'm like, I got to make some kind of bold move. I'd had kind of a crazy reality TV experience, not that all of them aren't crazy in
Right.
their own way. And I wrote a screenplay based, about a kind of a Scream wannabe that was the conceit was, a killer was loose on a reality set in some remote northern town, and that it was called Dead of Winter when I wrote it. It became Killer Movie, and I had to figure out how to raise the money to get that first feature shot. So once we did that, I shot that movie, lucked out, it got into Tribeca, and that kind of became the way I could show potential production companies that I could handle a scripted feature and not just reality stuff.
Right.
But
So this film, The Image of You, is new to us. It's old to you. You're already on your next project. How
yeah.
many projects ahead do you usually work or think about?
That's another great question. So I feel like we delivered Image right around the new year, and then I kind of rolled into this next, which is another thriller. So I'm really grateful. It was kind of a direct overlap. I'd already kind of been working on this new script with the screenwriter and prepping it. So it I was very grateful. It was I delivered this and kind of got right into the casting of this new one.
Got it. So a lot more to look forward from you in the future. Now, does this current round of media include any appearances on Howard Stern?
I wish it did. No, it does.
How nerve-wracking was that, by the way?
I was so excited. Like he was always talking about Hallmark movies, and I'd made some Hallmark movies, and of such a he's such an interesting, good interviewer. So yeah, it was exciting. It wasn't that nerve-wracking. The place that I was on the phone had a fire drill at the moment that it happened. So I was like trying to find a more quiet place to have that was a little nerve-wracking, but other than that, it was very exciting.
And a very loaded last question for you before I let you go here. Usually when you make a big project and you spend months filming and editing, et cetera, that kind of a thing, you have a kind of highlight or a thing that you remember most about it. Do you have that easy go-to memory where you go, this is, whenever I hear the name, the image of you, this is that thing that I think of?
Yeah, I don't want to, and I don't want to take away from like any of the other great moments because there really were. But when I read the script, Nestor Carbonell had been in like one of that first short rom-com I said, and was in my first feature, and I had previously made a movie with Parker Young, and I like both those guys so much personally and professionally. And I
Mhm.
remember when I read the script thinking about the scene of Nick and David, like in David's office, that kind of, is a big plot point, like how those guys would just not, kill that scene, be so great. And I remember when we shot it and they kind of like over delivered, I was just like, oh man, it was such a great moment to see, those two great actors that I'm so fond of just knocking it out of the park. So that was a really special moment for me. Yeah, grateful for.
So a recurring theme is that when Jeff Fisher works with you, you'll probably work with him again.
That's nice. Yeah, if I should be so lucky. Yeah.
Well, thank you for your time. Congrats on the image of you, and really looking forward to whatever's next, including this new project that currently has you holed up on a junket.
Hey, thanks so much, Darren. It was really nice to meet you. It was great speaking with you.
Paltrocast.